What up, y'all? It's your man, Abuamerican. Come to the dark side. Come to the dark side of the red pill. Hey, I want to talk about something. And when I say this stuff, I'm going to be speaking in generalizations. It doesn't have to apply to everyone or every single woman or every single man. But as a general rule of the thumb, these rules apply to the male and the female gender. And it has a lot to do with what I was talking about and the way that the male and the female minds are wired and the way we think. And like I said, or like I showed, the male brain, the two hemispheres are not really connected. And the female hemispheres are highly connected. So that means a woman's logic and emotion are combined a lot. And men have very little emotion when we go into thought. Now, of course, we understand, and like I said in that video, to the great deridement and, displeasure of many women, men are often emotionally detached. And that's a good thing, actually, ladies. Don't act like it's a bad thing. It's a necessity of the biology of how Allah has created us. Because if we were connected like you are, we wouldn't be able to kill Bambi. Oh, he's so cute. I can't kill it. No, somebody's got to go out and bring home the halal bacon. I prefer turkey bacon over beef bacon. Oh, that's not true. I don't know. They're both good. No, beef bacon. Nonetheless, I'm getting off topic. Sorry, I'm hungry. It's in the morning. If we were connected emotionally like that, we wouldn't be able to, focus in the same way. That sounds harsh, but I'm speaking of generalizations. But the reality is, when we look at society and history, every great society has been a patriarchy. And there are no great matriarchies. There are matriarchies, but there are no great ones. They have no lasting culture, literature, architecture, technology, nothing. And that's because of the male thought pattern. Now, how does the male thought pattern work? We are both rational and logical. The two have to be connected. You cannot be irrational and logical, and you cannot be like, you get the point. Anyway, let's go into definitions here. Logical. The science that investigates the principles governing correct or reliable inference. A particular method of reasoning applicable to any branch of knowledge or study. Reason or sound judgment in utterances or actions. I speak about this a lot, aka congruence. Convincing forcefulness. Inexorable truth or persuasiveness. So, as we can see here, logic is something that takes place before action or speech. It takes place during action and speech, and after the fact. Okay? It has to. What is rational? Based in accordance with reason or logic. So if you are a rational male, you have to, by default, be a logical male. Now, not all men are rational or logical. We call these guys manginas and white knights. These are the guys, as they say in modern terminology, are caught in their feels, right? And they put their emotions ahead, or their desires ahead of their logic and their reason. And the mangina, of course, is going to be a guy who's caught up in his feels. The white knight is going to put his desires ahead of his logical mind, his desire for a woman and her approval. He's going to give deference to any and every woman that he can because he just wants her approval above anything else. And so he forgets his rational mind and starts just acting in an irrational and an irresponsible manner. Kind of like a woman. Generalizations. Don't get mad at me, but this is what I've come to notice in my lifetime. Now let's look at what I believe to be the female mind and the way they are. Based off of my experiences, women tend to be irrational and therefore rationalize. Irrational, not logical or reasonable. And I think most men will agree with me that women are not logical, nor are they reasonable. It's very difficult to have a reasonable conversation with a woman. They're unreasonable. They want what they want and that's it. They don't care about the consequences. Creatures of instant gratification. It's like a little kid. Get mad at me, but I stand by my words. Rationalize. What is to rationalize? To ascribe one's acts, opinions to causes that superficially seem reasonable and valid, but that actually are unrelated to the true, possibly unconscious, and often less credible or arguable causes. Tell me I am not wrong about women. Now, rationalization doesn't take place before an action. It doesn't take place during an action, or it can actually. Well, okay, yes, there we go. Rationalization can take place during an action, but predominantly takes place after an action. Rationalization is what happens when you follow your heart, when you follow your emotions and your desires, and you stop being a logical individual and you start becoming an animal. When you forget everything else except your base desires, wants, and needs. And this is most women. They emotionally want something, and then when it goes wrong or bad, they rationalize why that action happened. They have to come up with a logical explanation as to why they did that. So, little girl goes into the big world, does something stupid, sleeps with a guy, wakes up in the morning like, oh my God, what just happened? How did I manage to sleep with this guy? Ew. She can't, in her logical mind, which is returned to her now, explain why she slept with some guy one night stand. He must have raped me. No, you just made a stupid decision and now you're going to go ruin some guy's life because you're a dumbass. Rationalization. I have had women say this to me. Get this, get this. Now, I knew this one woman. She said to me, I knew she was like talking to a bunch of guys and I was like, look, I'm not going to be dealing with like, a bunch of male orbiters. I'm not going to compete with other men for the affections of my woman. I said, it's not going to happen. I said, stop talking to other dudes. So then later on, I catch her red-handed in the act. And you know what she says? Get this, get this. Irrational rationalization. Well, I only started talking to men after you accused me. And I only started talking to them because you accused me. Let me put this in context for you. I'm walking down the street, black male. Officers, hey, you, black drug dealer, freeze. And I'm like, hey, I'm not a drug dealer, man. What are you, crazy? So they pat me down and I'm not a drug dealer. I'm like, no drugs. All right, get out of here. Fine. A few weeks later, I'm walking down the street, I jaywalk. I get pulled over by the same cops. They're like, hey, you jaywalker. We seen you jaywalking. We know you're a jaywalker. So then they pull me over, they search me, and I have drugs on me. And like, we knew you were a drug dealer. I'm like, no, I wasn't a drug dealer. I only became a drug dealer after you guys accused me of a drug dealer, and that's why I became a drug dealer. How many times have we heard that every time a woman cheats, it's the man's fault? Well, he didn't make me feel like a woman, and so I cheated. What? No, you cheated because you're a cheater because you're just a disgusting human being. If you were a regular, normal human being with virtues and values, you just leave the relationship and go start a new one with someone who would make you feel like a woman. But rationalization does not allow women to take accountability for their actions. And then white knights and manginas, who are rationalizers and irrational, they take accountability and responsibility away from women. Now, in terms of debate, because you are rational and logical, and she is irrational and a rationalizer, you should never really lose. Even when she's right, the only reason why she should win, right or wrong, is because you let her. One thing I've come to realize, and like again, I'm speaking in generalizations here. Don't lose your ish and blow up. But one thing I've come to notice is that when I debate most women, I can debate them and win when I'm wrong or when I'm right. And if I'm wrong, I can still battle them to a standstill despite being wrong as long as it's not something based on scientific, provable, demonstrable facts. And then I can take their side, say, okay, you're right, and then argue their point against them, and then make them seem like they're wrong with their own point. And if you think I can't do it, try me. This is a challenge to women. Guys, it's a little bit more difficult. And this is why white knights and manginas are dangerous, because they have the irrational, emotional lack of control of a woman and the logical mind of a man, including his ego. So that means he will emotionally lash out and attack you and possibly kill you over something like a woman. But he can still debate you. You see what I mean? He can still debate you with the logical, rational mind of a man, but have the lack of emotional control of a man. Makes him dangerous. Women, this is to be expected. You know, this. Not all women are like this, of course, and not all men are rational and logical, and not all women are irrational. You know, some women come to the realization about their nature, and it's a beautiful thing to witness, you know, when they're like, I know I'm crazy. Let me stay in my lane and take the back seat. That's a beautiful thing, ladies. It's awesome. And if you can do that, a high five to you. Anyway, this is more of a rant than anything else. This is your man, Abuamerican. As always, catch me on Instagram, catch me on Twitter, catch me on Facebook at Abuamerican. And you can subscribe here too. I'm out.